I was just okay. There. I think I'm good.
Yes.
I did it.
Inhale.
Yeah.
I know, dude.
I know. That's why I put a sweater on. I was
I didn't
like,
shave my head or nothing.
My first time going
bald,
commando.
Commando. Oh my
Baldy.
god. We need to do an intro already. Hurry so we can. So this can be added in there.
Okay.
That ain't it. That ain't it.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Welcome out to For the Record Podcast. Man, it's been a while.
It has been a little bit.
It's been a month.
Well, welcome back, guys.
A whole month.
Zoe here. To my right, we have a different little segment.
Yeah.
We're moving things
We
around.
got Mr. Hans.
Hans.
I get mad because I have to go to the restroom.
Pimo.
He gets mad.
Your Pimo.
'cause I have to
And
go
then
to
we
the
have
restroom.
Mrs. Hans, Miss Crystal.
Damiana.
Meow, 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 meow.
Oh my god. I don't even want to play with y'all no more.
Man, you play too real.
And welcome back, guys. It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we hit like what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
some new changes.
Yeah.
New
Yeah,
area.
we moved. We moved.
We moved houses. We moved podcast rooms.
Yeah, a couple times.
A
right?
couple times, yeah. This is like the third podcast room that we've had.
Hopefully this will be the last move for,
Hopefully
Hopefully.
for a good
for
while.
a good while. Yeah.
At
Yes.
least.
Yeah. From here on out, it should just be upgrades.
Yeah.
Like the new boom stands.
Yeah.
I know. I'm so excited.
Small little upgrades here and there, but we're moving forward.
Hell yeah.
We got some stuff to talk about.
Bro,
We have a lot.
of stuff to talk about.
there's so much going on in the
We have a
world.
lot.
Yes. We missed a lot in the last, 3 weeks,
3
4
weeks.
weeks. We missed a lot.
Yep.
Missed a whole lot.
I kind of hate it.
We're gonna get into it.
I hate people.
I'm with you. I'm struggling here.
I'm telling you, dude. I just wish we could like
Eject
Reset.
those cuz.
to the world.
Yeah, just reset the whole world.
How did
Like,
Thanos
that's
do
exactly
it?
what we need to do.
Just
Yeah.
people disappear. Let's just start over.
Maybe Thanos did have it right.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
Right? You get rid of X
Junior doesn't
amount
know.
of...
He didn't watch that.
You didn't watch it?
I know that part, but
Oh, okay.
I'm not so much
I was
of
gonna say,
a...
like, you get rid of X amount of the population, right? Because you're taking all the resources
Now
from
you're,
the earth.
now you're speaking like the Illuminati.
That's stupid. You get rid of X amount of the population, right? And just start over. Like, you start from scratch.
I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of what we're doing now.
Coronavirus.
I was like, how do you figure? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the...
Wow.
What do they call it? It's the grand plan. Oh, he's already...
One yawn. It's been an exhausting day.
I didn't go to work today.
Ooh, man. It's been a long
Yeah.
day, man. Been a long day. There's so much, dude. Where do we start?
Lead it off, because you sound like you got some stuff to get off your chest.
I hate schools.
Oh, we're gonna start there.
Let's start there,
Let's
man.
Start
I
at the
can't
do it.
school.
I hate,
Yeah.
dude, the federal government and their goddamn institutions. Their little federal institutions for children.
Their curriculum. It's the curriculum. That's what's horrible about this. So
We'll give some backstory, I guess. So today, my oldest, she's a senior. She they had a passage that they read, and they were fishing to make these kids come up with some sort of racism that they've been exposed to, or an experience, right?
yeah.
To racism. But I mean, dude, to me, racism, dude, it's subjective. Like it's all in how you see things, right? Like, man, if you let words bother you, then yeah, I mean, like, you could break down everything into racism, right? Like, man, but you know, for me, fortunately, I say in 36 years, I've never dealt with like a blatant racist, right? Like somebody coming at me like back in the day when we were talking about a time when people were hunted, shot, and hung, right? Like this is a totally different time.
Way different.
And it's funny, dude, because like we were when we got into the conversation, you know, my daughter just kind of looked at me. Shout out Maddie. She looked at me like she didn't understand the question or how to approach it, because I don't let my kids think that words have a hold on them, right?
So her question was in the classroom, or like she had to write a 250 word response to a time that she had experienced racism. And when she thought about it, she was like, well, I don't ever remember a time. She was like, Mom, do you? Like, have you ever experienced this? And I was like, no, I haven't. She asked Hans the same thing, and he was like, no, like, we've never experienced any form of race, not what we perceive as racism.
True oppressiveness.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we've never gone through that.
We talked about like stereotypes, stuff like that. Like that's very superficial.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I said, if you're digging, you know what I mean? You could turn damn near anything into racism, right? Yeah. But I'm talking like, has somebody like a goddamn Klans member, you know what I mean? Like that kind of racism, right. Or like some white dude like go way out of the way to come and target me to fight or to call me something or to say something.
Right.
Absolutely not. It just hasn't happened, right? Like
interrogating you.
Yeah,
right,
dude.
Right.
And then, the whole thing with cops, dude, I've been pulled over. And at a point in time, I felt like I had a home at the Frio City.
The magistrate.
The magistrate. Well, that thing. I felt like I was there every week, man. And dude, I was the one getting into trouble, right? I mean, they didn't come looking for me. I was doing stupid shit. Like, it is what it is. But it pisses me off that like they want these kids to come up. Like, it's like they're fishing. Like, they want them to pinpoint in their life somewhere that something happened that could be perceived as racist, right?
Right.
But if you look back, it really isn't, right? And a lot of these little kids that are responding on this board, you know what I mean? They're just, cultural appropriation, blah, 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 this and that and the other. It's like, bro, like, stop and get your head out of your ass for 2 seconds. Like, I was telling the kids, dude, earlier, it's funny, like, we can't even, you have to take into consideration that when my dad went to high school here, right, at Southwest, he would have been expelled for speaking Spanish in the school, right? Now it's a requirement to take a foreign language to graduate, right? And Spanish being one of the major ones because of where we live.
Spanish is the only foreign language that they have.
No, I think they have French.
No,
they
don't have French. No,
really?
that's what Maddie was saying. They don't have French. They don't have.
Wow.
No
It's
Francais?
just
No oui oui?
No oui oui. No croissants.
No oui oui, only pee. But no, it's one of those things, dude, where like, so if you look at that, right? Did we digress?
Oh yeah.
Dude, it's impossible to think of it that way, right?
We did.
But the problem is that like what we were talking about, dude, is they turn a positive thing being privileged into a racial thing being white privileged, right?
Right.
Like
So what happened was the
white privilege by definition is racism.
Thank you.
Right. So what happened was Maddie asked us that question, and then she responded on the little chat. She was like, I don't ever recall a time of this. I don't recall ever seeing it, right? And the teacher went on in the class, and then she responded on there. She was like, well, if you've never had a time that you've experienced racism, then there's a possibility that you have white privilege. And I'm like,
excuse me.
To a bunch of Hispanic kids.
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? Like, you're not going to say my kid has white privilege.
Well, and then again, that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, you could chalk, again, like, so what I don't understand is why can't it just be privilege, right?
Right.
So like I was explaining to the kids, right? We're sitting in the new house. Everybody's got cell phones. We've all got flat screen TVs. They are way more privileged than I was as a kid, right?
But
does that make them bad people?
But it wasn't because of a skin color.
Right.
It's just simply like...
Dude, you work for what you get, right? I mean, dude, I was trying to explain a bunch of stuff to her, and I was explaining how, like, dude, if you want to talk about, like, blatant racism, right? affirmative action. That's racist by definition.
It is.
Yeah.
It just is. They're separating kids kids by color for acceptance into college.
Right.
So I told her, you could be Mexican, right? Or Hispanic or Latina or Latinx, whatever the terms they come up with nowadays. She could be that. And then a black kid next to her could, just because he's black, get into the same college she applied for over her, right?
Yeah, like she could get like straight A's all through school, right? Not be like number one valedictorian, but straight A's. You know, you have your 4.8 GPA or whatever, and then you have another student that just so happens to be black, that he barely got out of high school. He barely graduated with 70s on his report cards and everything. He's gonna get a spot at a college over my daughter simply because of the fact that he's black and my daughter's Mexican.
And it goes across the board. Like I was telling her about Asians. They have to overachieve simply to get into college, just because they already perceived to be smarter, because they're privileged, because they grew up in a place where they focused a little harder on math and science.
And their parents were harder on about
yeah,
their
no
education.
shit, dude. And it's
So that goes to show that if we are just as, concerned about our kids' education, maybe they would aspire to that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have nothing to do with because my kid's brown,
No.
or my kid's black, or my kid's white, or Asian, or whatever. It's literally the parents. It's their standard.
I went to college for a little bit, right? I didn't graduate or whatever, but that was my choice.
Right.
I think everybody makes their own choices, because then in that sense, sucks to say it, but why would we have had a black president? Why do we have a black guy on the Supreme Court? Why do we have black judges? Why do we have black lawyers? You know why? Because they saw what they wanted and they went to go get it. So it's got nothing to do with your culture.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with where you grew up. It's got nothing to do with any of that. Like,
that's
if you
like
want to do something, you're going to get up and you're going to do it.
That's like that line that Jeff uses, I'm a product of my environment.
Environment. Yeah.
Like, I think that's a stupid way to look at life. Like, simply because you can be a product of the experiences, I think, that you go through, right? But that shouldn't make the end product, right? Like, it should mold, right? So if you struggle growing up, like I tell these kids all the time, I grew up in a house. Well, I didn't grow up, but we lived in a house for a good chunk of years that had 4 rooms, no bathroom and no shower. You had to run to grandpa's, right, to go to the bathroom, and they've never had to deal with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's never had to deal with that. But we're from the same culture, right? We're both Hispanics, right? She was a little more privileged than me. Does that make it bad? Right? No. Does that mean that she turned out way better than me, right? Or better than you, or better than anybody else? No. Right. I don't understand why they take that positive word privileged, right, and turn it into a negative. These kids think that they're privileged and they should be punished for it. And I'm like, no, dude, you're privileged, so use that privilege, right, to better yourself.
Exactly.
Dude, no white kid who decided that, or no white kid that was born into a privilege, right? A family that decided to go to school and start a business and run that business and do great. No white kid grew up and was like, man, you know what? I'm overprivileged. I don't want to,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to aspire too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are people that have thrown their entire life away, right?
Exactly.
Because they don't know the struggle.
Exactly.
But that doesn't make them bad people. They just made bad choices.
Right.
They made crap choices. Like, dude, I think, but everybody does that, right? The people that come from the struggle that never leave the struggle, that doesn't make them bad people. They just continue to make stupid choices that they start chasing their tail.
Right.
And they never move. They stay in that same area, man. It boggles my mind, dude. It when we went to go speak to the principal, and I told her, when she was like, well, what if we change the wording and, we talk about white privilege, and I'm like, but white privilege to me doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Privilege exists,
right?
But we're all privileged, right? Like, my kid's about to get 2 free years of college, right? Simply because she graduated from this school who made a deal with the college, the community college, right? Why isn't the school down the street doing that? Why isn't Northside doing that? I don't know that they're not, but I'm just saying.
Do it when I was there?
Exactly, right? Why didn't they start this a long time ago, right? But you know what, dude? She's privileged. So what? Should she feel bad?
No.
Hell no.
They want you to, though.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, and
they want you to feel like you're lucky to have this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bro,
yeah, no.
We worked for everything we have.
dude, I'm telling you, it was an exhausting, and it's
But you know
worse
what? But
because
I was ultimately proud of her though, because when we talked to the vice principal about it, she was like, I'm gonna talk to the teacher. Maybe we can get another assignment done, like maybe have her do some research on racism and like actual racism, like back slavery time and stuff, like racism then, right? Maybe have her,
Oppression.
yes,
Oppression, yeah.
maybe have her do a project on that. And it was like, okay, like I can agree with that. But right now, like I don't see how she can do this assignment. But then when I got home, she told me that she did the assignment. Okay. And I'm like, well, how did you do that? Well, she ended up staying after class and talking to the teacher and telling the teacher, look, I've never had this happen to me. And then she argued her point to the teacher. The teacher is supposedly like the coach of the debate team. Okay. So her and the teacher had a debate going back and forth. And the teacher was like, okay, you know what? I see your standpoint on it. Why don't you put down what you're telling me right now? Write that down, and I'll accept it for a grade.
See, but she didn't lead with that, right? So she led with the same leftist crap. Like, let's force them to figure out where in their life they've dealt with racism and make them feel bad about it, right? And then she goes on to like give examples, right? Where she was talking about like her dude in Houston. And they were at a restoration shop. They were trying to buy a trailer. I guess it was from a white guy, and the other guy that her husband took was Hispanic, and all he spoke was Mexican, or spoke Spanish. Sorry.
Sorry.
That was pretty racist.
Damn it, I'm not even drinking.
But all he spoke was Spanish, right?
I'm gonna speak Mexican for the rest of this
I
podcast.
speak Mexican.
I'm speaking Mexican now.
I am too. What do you know? What?
But yeah, so that when the husband was speaking Spanish with the guy he went up there with, right? The guy selling the trailer, according to her, like heard the conversation and all of a sudden was like, well, I don't want to sell the trailer. And that was racist. And I'm like, maybe it was, right? I mean, maybe it was like, maybe he had hatred toward people that speak Spanish, right? But ultimately, bro, it was his trailer, right? Yeah. So it's, dude, are you telling me that's the only trailer available anywhere? No, capitalism kicks in, right?
Yep.
That asshole that didn't want to sell the trailer, maybe her husband was willing to spend another $200 or $300 more, right?
Right.
And right down the street, he found another white guy that was like, "Come on, amigo, come on down, and I'll sell you this trailer for a couple extra $100." That dude's like, "Man, you know what? Here's my business." That dude made out like a fat cat, right? And the other dude's sitting there like, "Well, shit, I'm stuck with a trailer. What do I do now, right? I got to wait for the next guy to come along," when he could have sold it and just bid it, right? So even if you want to boil it down to racism, cool. The dude he's stuck with the trailer that he was trying to sell, right? Yeah, I guess you want to call it racism, right? Like, I guess. But again, we were talking, I was trying to explain to them, dude, I don't even understand why we have to call it racism. Like, to me, it's like people, like with the gun situation, there's bad people in the world that do bad things, right? I think there are hateful people, right? Yep. Me and you have had this conversation. If you want to call it racism, which we won't, because me and you have had this conversation, hatred is taught, right?
Right.
There is no little kid that wakes up or that is born that comes out disliking another kid or disliking another race, right? Or another ethnicity, right? It's taught, right?
At least you're teaching them that you're different in some kind of way.
Exactly.
Right.
And so we're even with that though, man, I'm in this space, in this headspace where like there are hateful people, man, but if you let that define you, then to me, I was telling Chris, it's one of those things where like the line that I tell you, or that I was always on, right, with religion, if what I say affects your faith, right, were you questioning mine or yours, right? Well, to me, it's the same thing. Somebody that's hateful, right? No matter what they say to me, that doesn't make me any less Hispanic, any less Mexican, any less Latinx, whatever, queer,
any less a man, any less
or
anything.
any less human,
right?
Right? Like, and if I let it, then of course they won.
Yep.
Right? It's that simple.
And then we have racism at that point.
They
But
won.
why do you let it affect you? Like, what is
to
it
that
gonna
extreme,
do?
right? Where they're gonna go fishing, they're gonna make these kids go down the Rolodex of like, dude, she's 18 and she's older because of where her birthday falls, right? So some of the seniors are 16, gonna be 17, gonna be 18, right? she's 18. What really has she lived through in 18 years,
Yeah,
right?
no kidding.
Living at mommy and daddy's house. I'm sorry. If I experienced anything close to racism, which I think I just experienced some hateful, shitty people, right?
Yeah.
That was way after I left home.
Yeah.
I went to go experience life, right? I went to a job, but man, if I let the fact that there were hateful people around me, I would never have any black friends, right? I would never have any white friends, and you can't do that. You got to get somebody's got to get you out of jail. Like you got to know a white guy. If Ray Somerville is watching this, he's my white friend. Shout out Ray Somerville.
From white friends.
You gotta have a white friend.
Always have to have a white friend.
Oh man, and you gotta have black friends too. Who else are you gonna blame the crime on? It's just it is what it is.
Stupid. You're so dumb.
But man, I
But I think that goes back to like the way we were raised, right? And how we were having that conversation the other day about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. Right? Where I was telling you how Tatiana Ali, like I didn't like her stance on it because every chance she got, she was throwing in the whole Black Lives Matter movement and black people being oppressed and, oh, we're a black family. When us as kids, when I would come home from school, I didn't see them as a black family.
Saw them as a family.
They
As
were
a
a family.
yep.
Yes, that's all it was. Like,
Them-
it was never about race. It was never about color. It was never about anything. Like it was just they were a family. Same thing with Family Matters.
All the
Watching Family
sitcoms.
Matters.
all the
other
sitcoms
day.
back then,
Yeah.
step by step. I didn't even realize I was watching an entire white family hang out, and
Yeah.
like they were just doing family things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That we sat down and we just kind of,
Or like when like Fernando came in Step by
in Fuller House.
In Fuller House, right? So in that one, when Fernando came in, it's like, okay, he's Mexican, like, and he's like,
Yeah,
it's
his-
weird or whatever. Like, what?
that was pretty racist.
No, stupid. You're
They made
so
him
dumb.
talk all Mexican.
Stupid. But like that, like even as an adult now watching Fuller House, right? Like it never struck it in my head that he was Mexican with the white family.
Yeah.
Like I don't see people that way. Like I don't think the normal average person sees people that way. Like Hans is saying, like I think it's just
You learn
hatred.
it.
Yeah.
You learn it.
It's just
a
hatred.
taught-
That's all it
it's a taught
is.
thing, man. And based off of dude, for the life of me, I can't remember, and I'm guessing because he's shifting away from YouTube, I couldn't find the video. Do you remember on Rogan, the black guy that he had on that
You good, bro?
he would sit and speak to Klans members?
Yes.
I forget his name, bro, off the top.
I know what you're talking about, though.
See, that's where like I don't understand where people are like racism.
Right.
This dude spoke to
The leader.
the leaders, different leaders,
Yeah.
different
Oh, yeah.
positions, right? Different positions, and just being human,
Right.
right?
Treating them normal.
Just like that. And
Having
those and a
conversation.
bunch of those guys were like, man, you know what? I think I'm wrong. And not only am I wrong, I'm quitting this.
Most of them didn't even know why they hated black people.
That's
Yeah.
because they're just taught.
They
They're
taught that.
Yeah.
simply just taught, right? It's annoying to me, and to me, we do the same thing, just on a SJW.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, all we're doing is just we're reversing it. We're teaching people that racism exists, and it's why we are the way we are, right? As a culture, right? Whether it's black or Hispanic or white people, right? I hate that people can sit there and say that that nobody can be racist towards white people. I've heard that before.
Or that white people can't be racist. Oh no.
I've
You're
heard that,
right,
yeah.
white-
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
I've heard
Okay,
that.
that way. Sorry.
I'm like, dude,
makes sense in my head.
it doesn't make any sense to me. Like again, speaking on the Eminem thing, right? The dude has done a ton for the culture, for the music, right? And never mind that, where I guess if you were ever having a conversation about a standard of music, right?
Right.
Is there a standard in hip hop that says it has the person on the other side of the mic has to be black?
No.
But they're shitting on old boy like he's not
They call him the guest of hip hop.
exactly.
You're a guest.
But like what was it? Isn't it Adam Calhoun or no Mises? That song where he says that white people invented basketball. Does that make Michael Jordan a guest in the house of basketball?
That's crazy to think about, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, saying that makes me a racist.
And I think it was a Canadian that invented basketball.
He's still white. He white in the motherfucker too.
Wrong button.
It's just crazy, dude. It's crazy that they're, you know. And then I go and I'm talking to this vice principal, dude, and she's understanding. I felt like she listened to me, except for when I told her that it's hard, because I understand, right? I understand teaching kids, teaching in general. I don't care what level of, even in college, right? The curriculum isn't local, right? It's not per state. It's federal, right? So it trickles down. These teachers are being told by their superiors, who are being told by state governors and senators, who are being told by the Department of Education, whatever that white lady's name is, right? They're being told, what?
I don't know her name.
Betsy something, Devos, or Devos, or whatever the
Devos.
that crazy. And she was. I don't even know if she still is. Anyway, it's all trickled down, right? Like they're just doing their job. I hate that, because that's like cops,
The
you know,
cops that pull you
shitty cops
over.
that are pulling you over, and they're, I'm just doing my
Just
job.
doing my job.
You know,
So were the Nazi Germans.
yeah, the Nuremberg trials. They, you know,
I was just doing my job.
Yeah.
dude, it's crappy. But I wasn't mad at the teacher. I don't understand why the teacher, when Madison said, I've never experienced racism, right? I feel like the teacher could have responded with, you know what, then do this. Answer the questions to the best of your abilities. I'll grade that, and then we'll move on. But instead, she had to lead with, well, you know, maybe, you know, let me give you an example of what I've been, or somebody that, it was indirect, right?
Right.
And then she gave that story about the trailer, and I'm like, it's not really racist. That guy maybe hated Mexicans, right?
And I think that's what led to a lot of the questions that she's asking now about the assignment that she's doing, because I think one of the responses on there, like they have to, like the teacher's trying to get them into a debate, like to debate with each other, right?
Right.
So some of the questions that she's answering, like one of them was saying that that this kid grew up like in elementary school, and they had all the Spanish speaking kids all the way in one class, and there was only one teacher for them. Whereas the kids that spoke English, there was 4 different teachers for those classes, and then there was like they separated them, like it was a form of segregation. Like he saw that as racism because they segregated the Mexicans from the other kids, and it's like, well, no, because that's a disadvantage to the Spanish speaking kids that only speak Spanish. You put them in a class that speaks nothing but English, then they're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can't set kids up to fail like that, because then they don't learn anything.
Well, never mind that. And then they're not taking into consideration, obviously, because we're in the States, right? There's more teachers per the kids that speak English, because the kids outnumber the kids that speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Right.
Because nowadays, you know, kids are not growing up to speak Spanish the way
Right.
it still happens, but it's just not as much, right?
And I grew up in a time where they were starting to introduce the bilingual classes.
Right.
Right.
Even in elementary school. But even in a bilingual class, my teacher didn't necessarily focus on Spanish.
Right.
Right.
So I didn't grow up learning Spanish,
Right.
even in a bilingual
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
All she did was speak to the bilingual kids
Yeah.
or the Spanish speaking only kids.
Yeah.
But at
Because
the
I
same
think we
time,
had that misconception too, because Max was put.
no, dime out
No,
here.
it was Max. He was put in a bilingual class, and we were like, well, that's stupid, because if the teacher speaks nothing but Spanish, like my kid doesn't speak Spanish. Like just because his name is Maximiliano, it doesn't mean that he speaks Spanish.
Did you just assume he's a Mexican?
Yeah, and that's how we felt. But then when we went and talked to the teacher was like, no, like it's a bilingual class because I can help. Like there wasn't enough kids to have just one teacher for those kids. Like it's a waste of resources in a sense, right? Like she could communicate with both the English speaking kids and the Spanish speaking kids.
Right.
So they merged the class together, as opposed to having one teacher have 5 kids in their class, and then you have 3 other classes that are overpopulated because there's one teacher, this time's taken away because they have to talk to nothing but Spanish speaking kids. You know, so instead of doing that, they merged the classes so that it was even, and they were able to address kids that spoke Spanish and the kids that spoke English. So I was like, okay. Like at that point, it was like, okay, I get it now.
Are we at a point of no return? Is it too late to?
I honestly I think so, man. There's so many kids that are being taught this victim mentality.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they're pushing it so hard, man. Yeah. That's why like when people come around me and they're around me and my family, even when I was younger, man, and I was way worse when I was younger. But, when I pick on the kids or my kids, right, and I'm messing around with them and I call them these names and I do this and I do that, I'm personally, I feel like I'm setting them up to realize that those words mean nothing. Yeah. I say it and I'm joking. And then when you hear somebody else say it, it'll fly right off your back, right? Yeah. There's too many kids, like reading the responses that were in that little debate. Mm-hmm. They were simply just looking. Like the kids were just searching, right? This kid talking about accents and cultural appropriation from white people using accents or hairstyles, right, to go viral online, right? Okay. So what? Yeah. Like who cares?
Who says you can't be white and make
you know what I mean? Like are there not Mexicans that make a great living being Mexican, speaking Spanish? And stupid Spanish, like Chicanos, right? That make these movies.
The slur or like
those, they get on the movies. They're in the movie. They do that and they make a killing, and it's okay because they're Hispanic, they're Chicanos, they're Latinx, like. You know what I mean? I don't know. They say it all the time.
Like Generation X.
Oh my God.
And Latino, like they combine it.
It sounds stupid.
I think that's what it was.
It sounds so stupid. I can't stop saying it. But like, there's people that do it, and like Krista was saying, we were talking right there. There's those people that they get paid. They're white people, or not. I'm sorry, not white people. They're people that are not from here, right? That make a living.
They're British, and
I
think is what it is.
Charlie Hunnam. We talked about it, right? I don't know, man. It's. And then when the principal was like, "Well, I assume she's going to college, right?" And I'm like, I don't even know if I want my, it's gonna be her choice, right? I'm not gonna make that choice for her. But after hearing how, the major universities, I don't know about the community college level, but major universities, right? You're having to take these racial this and that and the other, lesbian interpretive dance, like left-handed puppetry.
Shut up, Ben Shapiro.
You have to take those courses in order to get through to get your damn degree.
Yeah.
Man, like now it's a requirement that you have to take those courses, and it's like
I don't want to know, and I don't care what other people do with their lives. You know what I mean? Like I want to do what I pay for, get my degree, and get on with my life. Right. I don't care what other people think. None of that bothers me, and it shouldn't bother anybody else, right? Again, capitalism will always, so long as they let it, will always work, dude. If I felt like I opened a business and I didn't want a particular type of person in my business, that leaves room for you, right? There's skin in the game for you. Now you can say, man, you know what? That guy's making a killing at that business, but he's leaving out a ton of people. I'm going to start the same business across the street, and I'm going to take all the people he won't take. Right.
Plus the people that are still willing to go.
Exactly. And then the people they're going to say, man, you know what? Why is this guy here only taking us, but that guy will take anybody? The market will bear, right? And either I'm going to continue to have my regulars that believe just like I believe,
right?
Or I'll go out of business simply because it's racist.
And you don't even need cancel culture to do it.
Nah,
right.
It'll happen all by it's natural, like natural selection. It just kind of happens, dude. Yeah. It will show the path in which it, you know what I mean, whichever way it wants to go.
But we had to like explain to the assistant principal, like when it came to this assignment, it was like, we're not raising our children that way. Like the way we raise our children, like words are just that. They're words. Like if someone calls them a spick or a wetback or something, okay, haha, whatever. Like, why would you let it bother you? And, I had to tell the assistant principal, it's like, we've never experienced that because we've never paid any attention to it. And we've taught the kids to not pay attention to it.
Right.
Plus, people can say what they want. I ain't swim no river. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Now, we're talking a different story if the teacher says, I'm not teaching that kid.
Right.
And this is the only curriculum that there is to graduate, but I'm not teaching that kid because of the color of their skin.
Right.
Or they only speak Spanish.
Yeah.
That's a different story here.
Yeah.
'Cause that's now the oppressor
Right.
trying to stop them from learning or doing
Exactly.
something.
Or if the teacher would have came back at her and been like, no, you need to come up with something to fit this assignment, or I'm going to give you an F on it. If you submit what you're saying that you've never had this happen to you, then I'm going to give you an F on it. Like if the teacher had come at her like that, oh buddy, we would have had a whole nother story on our hands, you know? But
yeah, because it now you're silencing somebody else simply because they have a different life experience than you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
But I was, again, though, like, I was proud of her that she had that conversation with the teacher and her and the teacher worked it out. Like, she did what was appropriate for her age. Like, her being 18, she's at that stage where she's almost not a student anymore. She's almost an adult, you know? So she worked it out on her own. If you've ever met Maddie, you know that she's very non-talkative. She's very non-confrontational. You know, she doesn't like getting into
And
debates.
if she spent most of her life not ever feeling that kind of negativity, all you did was introduce it, and now she's gonna start thinking about every moment as that and become a victim in their own mind.
It's like a superstitious person, right? If I walk under a ladder or something, you know what I mean? Yeah. The minute you do it, you put it in your head, you're just waiting for the accident to happen.
Yeah.
Simply because you're waiting for it, right? Dude, if you don't think about it, you put it out of your mind, it happened, you walked under the ladder, whatever, you're doing what you're doing. Same difference, man. They set the ladder up for these kids, they're waiting for them to walk under it, and now they're going to tell them, you're going to fall, you're going to hurt yourself. Yeah. And they're just going through their day, sitting around, waiting to fall, waiting to hurt themselves.
It's like the kukui. Yeah. We never met the guy, but apparently he's there.
Hey, that ain't even funny. I still don't go into a room without turning the lights on.
now I have Google turn on my lights. I can do it from my phone.
I talked to him. I'm like your cut G.
All the boys like a cut G.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
But I was super proud of her. I really was. Like she stood her ground. She didn't let.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
But we're teaching them to do the opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because do they you know, again,
Well,
more people that think the same. We the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You take that away, you keep the division there, then we the people means nothing. They can continue to do what they want. You know what I mean? They're like, again, I told her, we're raising an entire generation now, 2-3 generations of kids, my generation included, that almost feels like there's something, somebody owes you some shit. Dude, and nobody owes you anything. Nothing at all, dude. When you go to work, you're not owed that job. Yeah. You're not even owed any money, really, right? It's a negotiation. You're only going to get what you put in. Yeah. That's it.
And you agree to it.
Exactly.
By choice.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't want my kids to think like Maddie, you know, she's getting ready to graduate. She's getting ready to go to college. I don't want somebody filling her head with like, oh, you can go and take, gender studies and all these stupid shit things that, yeah, I mean, she's going to have a cool piece of paper. Right. But when it's not applicable in life, she just wasted all that time.
She just wasted time and money at that point.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's not happening, dude. And if she wanted to, man, I would let her do it and let her fall on her face. And when it happened, I'd kick her and tell her, that's what you get. Simply because I would have never let her do it, right? Willingly. Right. But if she decided to go do it, man, have fun. When you come back and it didn't work out for you.
It's like, that's what being a parent is. Because I remember my dad always tell me when I was a kid, I wanted to touch the barbecue pit. Right. But I would say hot. I never touched it. But I would say hot. And my dad's like, hot, don't touch it. And then I'm like, okay. And then my dad turned around and here I go. And then he's like, stop. And I was like, hot. And then eventually he was just like, you know what? Go ahead, touch it.
Yeah.
And then he shot you with a nugget.
Right in the head.
Right. That'll learn you not to touch anything.
Right. Sometimes I guess they got to learn for themselves.
Yeah.
They have to.
And I think that's a part of life. Like that's a part of what a lot of people don't do for their kids. It's like you have to let them fall sometimes. Like it sucks, you know?
But at least you can educate them.
Right.
It's a difference when they're telling you not to.
Right.
Or you have to think of it this way. Yeah. And then now you have to learn the consequences the hard way because someone else. I'd rather it be me.
I got 2 phones.
There
one
it
from
is.
my bitches and one from my hoes.
No, and that's the crazy thing, right? Is like, again, I want to prepare her the best that I can, right? But once she's 18, other than respect my home, I really can't tell her anything, right? She's.
But she knows too, like if she does fall and she needs to come back, like
I'm
Come
gonna
on.
laugh at her first.
Yeah.
And
then
then
I'm
I'll
gonna allow
help
her
her
back
up.
in. Yeah. I'll allow her back in and then help her up. And hopefully she's learned from her mistakes and she doesn't do it again.
Right. You
But-
can also show her where you can improve on.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Because
I
some
mean,
people don't learn the first time.
yeah,
Right?
I
Right?
didn't.
Definitely.
Come
So
on,
we
so I
got
have two
kids.
boys.
So we have 2 boys. But yeah, so next subject.
Trump 2020.
Trump 2020. Wow. Yeah.
I don't
That
know.
is a doozy.
That's something that's out there, dude.
Yeah.
I think it still boggles my mind that like kind of getting into the presidency and president elect.
You already had a problem with it to begin with.
What do you mean?
You had like the whole idea of your votes don't matter and this and that, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So
And
like
this-
I'm
Yeah,
over
no,
here trying to
seriously.
convince you otherwise, and then they pull this crap.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, so like now I guess now you see the process, right? Because this is the first year that I know of, right? That they've explained the process in depth, where they were like, okay, well, the electoral votes don't go in until this day, until the
Right.
14th of December, and it's like, well, crap. Like we always went by what the Associated Press said,
Right.
And that's not the case this year. Like
It's never
this year-
been the case.
Yeah, it's never really been. We
That's
just
not
as a
constitution.
population.
Well, no, I
No,
know,
she's
but
talking
that's
about
just
people.
yeah,
Okay.
it's just me, my perception. Like, okay, so I loved history in school and everything, but for some reason, I don't remember that part of them saying that the electoral votes don't go in until
Okay.
December. Like, I don't remember that at all. So I always thought it was election night. They kept up with the polls and everything. Bam, that's your president. We wait till January 20th
kinda
to have them
figured the
put
same
it.
thing.
But this year is the first year that they've gone through the rest of the process because of everything that's going on. So it's like, holy crap! Like, okay, maybe your votes do matter. Like,
And they
because
don't.
we've always watched it. Stupid.
And they don't.
And they don't know because like half the dead people that are voting the wrong way. So
Even in death, they couldn't get it right.
or what did Shapiro call him? No, Crowder. What did he call him? The lot people. What are they? The vacant lot people or whatever he called them.
I
He
gotta
called him
remember.
something.
He was like, well,
Something about a vacant
I
lot.
wouldn't imagine there were a lot of vacant lot Trump supporters.
I like even the joke that they said even COVID picked Trump over Biden.
It's a weird time, man. It's weird. I don't, I've been watching the hearings. I watched the hearing in Pennsylvania.
The one
and-
today, yeah.
Yeah. I watched that one and then the other. No, actually, I watched the one today was in Georgia. Well, yeah,
It was
Georgia.
in Georgia.
Georgia.
Yesterday
Yeah.
was Arizona,
Or day before. I don't know. I watched. There's been about
or
three
day
of them.
before was Arizona because I had watched Shapiro the following day.
And it, dude, it boggles my mind that like to get it out there because there's so many people that already friends, family that dude. I say
God. Yeah,
I
we
say
deserve
Trump
this.
2020, right? And they're like, oh, you fucking racist, you Trump supporter, blah blah blah. I don't give two shits.
Yeah,
Let's
you
just
don't.
let's
He
just
really
get that.
doesn't.
Let's
care.
get this
He
out
really
the way.
doesn't.
But this proves my point in the sense of if they prove that all of this happened the way it happened, dude, then when did it matter? When did our votes stop mattering, right? You have to think back, right? How many of these did we go through that we didn't have this process, right?
Right.
The legal process that Trump's team is doing, right? We haven't done that. Too
Right,
many
because they
times.
didn't nobody's ever really
Contested
enforced
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, nobody's ever I gotta give it to Trump, right? He's such a businessman that he looked into those laws, or he had people look into he knew to tell those people to look into those laws for him to see that he had until was it today to file against
the
Michigan.
lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's really the only one that's done that. Like, other than who was it? Bush and Gore, where they were like, "Oh, well, we want to recount," and they recounted, and then they ended up overturning it.
But
it
that was
never
a
got this
quick-
far. Yeah,
yeah,
it
there
never
was-
got this far in depth that the whole world is just watching these trials and everything.
But that's what's freaking me out, right? Is like yeah, it's something stupid. It's TikTok, right? But when people are
TikTok's
posting
been right.
when people are posting videos like, is it only right-leaning Americans that feel like the presidency is stolen? Or what does the world think, right? And the comments are full of like, dude, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, this, and everybody's like, dude, Trump won. I'm sorry, but as far as we're concerned, Trump won. I'm like, Allah, like the whole world, right? It would be different. And it doesn't, again, that doesn't matter to me. I don't really care in the sense of like.
I don't know, it's kind of cool though. Like,
No, I get that. My deal though is again, like I'm not in this to merely, I want to see Trump win, right? I want to be proved right that our votes don't matter, right? I want them to find a bunch of shit, like the way they're finding the things they're
because then we
uncovering.
can make adjustments at that point.
Yeah. And you know, dude, if they go through everything and dumb shit wins, he won. All right.
got to get up the next day and go to work. Still
You know what
gotta
I
go to
mean?
work. Still got to take care of 3 kids.
But it's just,
I've had a problem where I've seen people who say, I don't care if there's fraud or not, as long as Biden wins.
Trump is out of office.
I go, you should care.
Yeah.
Even if you oppose the person that it doesn't go in their favor, you should care, because in that matter, your vote didn't matter then.
Yeah.
If it's a rigged system. So then why? Why
Then
vote?
why vote?
Then why care?
Yep.
Even if it's in your favor,
I've been
why
saying it.
care?
Yeah. Do you have
Biden sucks.
Biden does suck. Oh, he sniffs.
For me, I'm gonna withhold judgment because I just want to see everything play out, right?
No, I'm still gonna judge him.
No. I'm talking about the election in general.
Oh yeah, no, for
Like,
sure.
Gotcha,
for me,
gotcha.
I
Okay.
want to see that if there is voter fraud, do people accept it
No.
and just say, well, oh well, or do people actually care? And I think that they're not gonna care. My personal opinion, because again, as long as they got it their way,
No, for
but
sure.
there's a big problem here.
Yeah.
That's my issue. If this is a real thing, now they're saying, oh well, there's no evidence of voter fraud anywhere, blah blah blah. Well, that's what they're telling you.
Yeah.
Well,
But at one point, there could be something.
Well, no. Here's the thing, right? This is where wordplay comes in, dude. And they're fucking great at it. The AP and even what's his name, the AG Barr, right? The Attorney General Barr. They use the words, there was no widespread voter fraud,
Oh, I got you.
right? So they're still acknowledging
They're acknowledging
There's
that there
voter
is
fraud.
There's just
but
not
it's just not
widespread.
widespread in order to to turn the election. And my whole fucking deal is, I don't care about turning the election. Then you prove to me that my vote somewhere down the line or somebody's vote somewhere down the line didn't matter because you let some fraud happen, right?
Right.
It wasn't
And-
enough to turn in my favor. I don't care.
And so I watched the video earlier, and he said, per capita, right, when they did the voter thing, they found one vote in every 100. That's 1%. What's 1% of 1 million?
100,000 or 1,000?
10,000.
10,000. Oh, I was close. I
That's
missed
a
the
lot
zero.
of ballots to be flipped over.
Yeah.
That's a big number. So even if it's 1%, you might think, oh, it's minuscule.
Yeah.
But on a wide scale,
Right.
At
you're-
10,000, like
yeah.
that's
or
still too many.
180 million people that voted,
Yeah.
what's 1% of that?
Or let's use their words against them, right? Because Democrats are always pushing that whole deal with the COVID-19, right? Where they're like, oh, one person died, that's one too many. Okay, well, one vote was found as fraud, that's one too many.
Right.
10,000.
10,000,
That's 10,000
way
too many.
too many.
Yep.
Like,
That's all. That's where I'm at, dude. I could care less because, again, dude, I still, and I will always, I don't care who's the president, right? Because to me, that's neither here nor there. I'm still, you know me, dude, local government, dude. If so long as Texas stays red, we have a governor, senators, local. I mean, obviously San Antonio sucks. Their mayor's a crybaby, just like in all the other major cities. Yeah.
I say this, like, most people say, oh, there's no voter fraud, there's no evidence, blah, 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 right? Well, there's people now that we have affidavits for, which is punishable by law if you're lying on a federal document.
yeah.
So let's hold them accountable, right? See what happens.
Investigate.
Exactly. So let them
Do
speak.
something.
Let them say what they got to say. And again, if they're wrong, well, for one, they're going to be punished.
Yeah.
It's perjury.
Yeah.
Right. So nonetheless, right. And it's not 1, 2, or 3, or 10, or 15. It's 200 plus affidavits.
Wow.
So there's something here.
Well, and even if there's not, because again, it's hard to not at least investigate it coming from the whole left side,
Right.
that for the last 4 years cried Russia, Russia, Russia.
Well, there were
and
the
they
ones-
spent millions of dollars investigating,
$47 million.
investigate, and got nothing.
Nothing.
Not a one thing came of that whole fucking thing. And they're like, no, trust us. This election, it went smooth.
There was a poll that went out that said,
My poll.
It went out and said how many people actually believe that, you know, the election is a fair thing, right? Most people, it was 50-50, if not, you know, 56 and, you know, some change, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like the election happens and the Democrats were like, no, it's like 93% correct. You were like 50-50 on it. And now because your guy won,
Yeah.
you're pretty sure that this is
almost
this is
100%
real.
sure. Yeah.
But then you're going to get, well, like this year, COVID, we're
That's
just in
so
a time.
stupid.
But that's what they
There
did.
were literally people at freaking Walmart because they were bored.
I know.
I'm gonna go to Walmart and I'm
I
gonna
know,
stand
I
here and
know,
I'm
like,
gonna
I'm
talk
not
to like
arguing with
30
you, I'm
other
just-
people because
And
I'm bored at home.
There was no
I hate
restriction
quarantine.
on voter registration.
Wow.
So when I went, there was a bunch of people.
Right.
They weren't social distancing.
Right.
I mean,
Well, how
Whatever,
do you mandate that, right? Like how do you tell adults in one area when those adults overrun you?
Careful
Like,
what you wish for.
How do you tell them that?
You bring in the military. I'm just being honest.
No,
like,
and
or you
I
you
get
make
that,
them
but
fear with a fine.
okay, but that's what they didn't do, right? Because I watched all the polling sites the day that election day came up. I have cameras everywhere in my job, so I watched all the polling sites. Like, people would start out social distancing and then they would start talking and then they get closer and closer and closer until they were right next to each other talking, and then this guy comes over and wants to join the conversation and they're all right there in a group. But the signs are on the floor that say stand here, stand here, stand here, and stand here. Yeah. You weren't standing there. But then who mandated that? Nobody mandated it. Nobody did that. Look at Thanksgiving. My God, look at all the people that they set their laws that you weren't allowed to go and visit family for Thanksgiving.
It's a policy, not a
And
law.
look at the governors or whoever, the members of the government that were like, that doesn't apply to me. That only applies to the little
and
people.
right after they give their little spew about telling you what you can and can't do
Exactly.
in your own home.
Right. And then they're wondering why the numbers are going back up. Or according to them, the numbers are going back up. But, like, I don't know. It's stupid. It angers me.
I do it again. I
really gets
wish
me.
people would just get their heads out of their asses. Like, there's so many arguments for.
Well, they say the same thing about our side.
Of course, dude.
This
This
is
is
why. Remember, we had this conversation. This is why I think more people need to sit down and have conversations.
Yeah.
with
Right.
opposers, right? The opposing
Right.
side. Because here's the thing. This is what I said the other day. One of us is right. Both of us ain't gonna admit we're right. But if we don't admit that, maybe we talk enough to where you'll actually hear your own contradiction.
Right.
At some point, you'll get there.
Yeah.
And then you can
Right.
finally get that out, right?
Well, it's like all the videos that we see about mask wearing, right? And they're like, "Oh no, well, you're killing people, blah blah blah. What about all the babies that die, blah blah, right?" And then they're like, "Well, that's different."
Well, that's different.
or
like how it because that's a choice that you
Yeah.
make. Well, so is wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Like
or
that's
like the
my
video that I
choice.
sent, the dude was talking about tuberculosis, man.
right.
Where were the masks? Where was the social distancing when that dude? I didn't even know that was a thing when it
I
happened.
didn't either.
It was.
Right?
Well,
Like-
it was like remember when we were talking about, they were talking about the last almost pandemic, which was like the swine flu or the Zika virus or something like that,
Well,
right?
last year was
But
supposed
I
to be the
don't-
craziest flu, right? Last year.
But I don't remember that
Yes.
affecting us here.
Well, I don't remember it affecting anybody anywhere.
Right.
Because they didn't make it news.
Right.
Exactly. So, like, when they started talking, like, I remember them talking about the Zika virus, and they were like, oh, yeah, X amount of people have already died, and everyone was like, meh. Like,
His number is
You know-
666.
and it was the Zika virus. It was before that, it was the swine flu, the bird flu,
H1N1.
H1N1, like, all of that stuff. But we never had to shut down. People were dying.
Yeah.
Stuff was going on.
People die every day.
Exactly. Like, I don't
See, this is
remember
kinda
them
where,
having to
like,
shut it down.
I don't know. I don't understand where like when they talk about like the Georgia Guidestones, right? And they talk about we're supposed to reduce the population, blah, 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 right? This is the perfect time to reduce the population. Like, if it was a real thing, right? The Illuminati and all that, this is, I would be like,
this is the reset
hold
button.
your hands and rejoice. Go sing in the streets.
Right.
Cough on each other. Have orgies. Go do what you do. Let's end the population a little more.
Wow.
I don't know. It's just awkward to me, dude. It's awkward. But like, you know, like I said, that video that I posted the other day, man, where homeboy's talking about, you know, we live in a society where it's okay to kill babies because it's their choice, but we're gonna shut the country down to protect lives.
Yeah, when they shut down Planned Parenthood for COVID, I'm like, when did y'all care about the sanctity of life?
Right?
No, but it's a choice.
That's a choice. That's the difference in it. That's a choice that you make. Like, if you go out without a mask, like, you are putting everybody else in danger, and you have no consideration.
You're being a mean man.
Yeah, you have no consideration for life.
With the masks, my body, my choice.
Right?
It's
So
like that two-way thing that I posted.
Yeah.
Remember? I carry my gun.
For your safety.
For your safety.
Just like you would wear a mask for my safety. Where's your gun?
Oh, that's a choice. It's always a choice until they don't like the choice.
Yeah.
Until it, yeah, pretty much.
Dude, because like that's the crazy thing, right? Is like, dude, I don't care what people do, man. We had the conversation about abortion. I don't give two shits what you do. I don't want to pay for it, right? The mask wearing, dude. I don't care if you wear a mask, right? Wear 10 masks. I don't give a fuck. Live in a bubble. That doesn't bother me. Don't force me to, right? Yeah. If I die, I die. There's only people that I'm gonna hurt are my family, right? But with a 99.9,
I've been living in Mexico.
Damn.
For free.
and again, dude,
rich.
I deal with so many people, man. Like I've gotten kinned and Karen so many, dude, for my mask.
The only excuse they have is you don't care about everybody else.
No, I sure don't.
No, I have no obligation to care about anybody else.
It's in the Constitution.
I worry about me and mine. Like,
that's what's funny,
it.
right? So they mandate that you should, right, for the greater good. Again,
have you met everybody else?
We've had this conversation about the police, right?
Right.
They have a job to do.
Yeah.
But
we just talked to Maddie
about
it
today. They don't have a constitutional duty to protect you at all. Nothing. Police don't have to help you.
Who was it? It's whatever versus Winnebago.
It was Deshaney.
Deshaney versus Winnebago.
Gonzalez.
No,
there's another one. Gonzalez.
That's the one after
that was the one after.
Yeah, with the 3 kids.
I forget.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, both the federal Supreme Court
ruled that there was no constitutional obligation.
And that's cool. So, but then if you've got these policy enforcers, right, that aren't obligated to take care of me or to protect me, then why is the everyday average Joe Schmo, why am I obligated to care about the person next to me? Now, don't get me wrong. Again, this is where I think a lot of people take things like, speaking of aggressions, right? They see, like, if they see me without a mask and they're like, I see you without a mask. You don't care about nobody, you jerk, blah, blah, blah. Dude, if I was feeling away or like, and I get there's people out there that can pass it that don't, they're asymptomatic, right? I get that, dude, but I don't know, dude. I think too many people are just wrapped up in other people's lives, man. I think it's funny now to go around seeing people and never mind, even with the mask wearing, like, it's super hilarious that people like that one video that I was just showing you the other day where the lady she managed in her store, she set up a policy in her store. You have to take your mask off. Yeah. Because people are gross. They take their masks out of their pockets. They're just throwing in their car. They're constantly. How many people wear the same goddamn mask?
Like we were talking
They
to the
mask
assistant
hygiene.
principal, and she's sitting there and she's doing this
right.
the whole time, and it's like, that's disgusting. Like, you just touched your radio. You were outside loading all the kids on the bus. Like, you were doing all of this stuff. No, I said radio, stupid. Like, you were doing all of this stuff, and now your hand is all over this mask. Like, people are disgusting. People don't know. It was the same argument that I had about gloves. I couldn't understand why gloves were sold out everywhere, why people were wearing gloves in their cars. And I'm like, dude, that is so stupid. Like, people do not know how to wear gloves.
Or you're by yourself in your car
wearing a mask.
I want to start doing that just to be I want to put like one right here, one on my head, one on my chin, and just drive
like-
down the street.
But people
Like
don't
they think it's
understand
literally
that.
everywhere. Like
Right.
like it's natural gas leak
Well,
or
no,
something.
it's not that. It's just like, okay, so like I worked in the cafeteria for like a year and a half, right? Anytime that I touched a different surface with gloves, you have to take them off and you have to
Right.
change them. People don't understand that. Oh, I have a box of 50 gloves, so I'm going to drive in my car with my gloves on, and I'm going to go to H-E-B.
Right.
I'm going to get down at H-E-B, touch my door handle to open it and close it, grab a basket, go inside H-E-B, put all the groceries in my cart, get back into my car, touch my steering wheel again with my gloves on, the same gloves. I've never changed gloves in this entire trip. But then when I get home, I take my gloves off and I'm safe. Oh, I need to move my car because I'm about to cut grass. So let me get in my car. I'm not going to put gloves on because I'm not going anywhere. Well, everything you just touched is sitting on your steering wheel.
It's like people forget the fucking process on how your food and how your products get on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, yeah, you wore gloves, but what about the asshole that packaged your shit, right? And then it went to a warehouse, and then it got picked from that warehouse, put on a pallet, put in a truck, driven to H-E-B or to Walmart or whatever. Then it gets down, they separate it off the pallet, then it gets put into the individual departments,
Like
and then
produce.
those people,
Like
yeah.
produce. Like they just put it up on the shelf.
And dude, I do it on purpose, bro. I go to H-E-B and I grab all the fucking in front of everybody. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. No,
You're all.
Come on, I can't see myself. No, I don't like that one. I do, dude. I have to, man, because like it's like the stupid curfew that they put into place here in San Antonio,
that's
man.
hilarious.
That was so stupid.
You're gonna die. You're gonna turn into a pumpkin. It's
You're gonna
stupid.
you can only get COVID at 10:01. So if you're not home by 10 o'clock, 10:01, you got COVID.
You got COVID.
I don't know, dude.
You
I
wanna
think
join us? You can join us.
I think I don't know. She's not even in frame, no.
I can move it back.
Oh.
It's up to y'all.
It's up to her.
Oh.
Are
Oh, I don't have to be in frame.
Yeah, well,
She's
can't-
gonna be a random
She's
voice.
Just gonna be a random voice.
Are you
Let's
18?
do
Can you
that.
be?
No, 'cause she's
Can you
not
consent
18.
yourself?
She cannot.
We need a.
There you go. She'll just be a side voice. She'll be like the voice of God.
I'm gonna need to have her sign an NDA.
So yeah. Anyway, I was thinking to myself, dude, with this whole situation right here's the other side of things. This is just the
Are
conspiracy.
you gonna have a live mic or mic off?
It's up to her.
Mic on.
Mic on.
Mic on.
She's like, I got a lot to say here.
Okay.
Maddie's
Proof
joining
is in the
us.
recording. You can't sue me, Maddie.
Well, she's not even in frame, so
She's all bet.
you're not even serious. She's like,
She's all shout out me.
Dude, my leg's twitching like it wants to cramp up right now.
Allah.
oh, that sucks.
I don't even have a code name.
Maddie, you're shout out Maddie.
You
Duh.
shout out, Maddie.
That's your
It's
name.
part of it.
You're shout out like that's just you. You're just shout out
Your
Maddie.
SOM.
Ah.
Some
Oh, it took her a little bit.
loading. You all right over there? Get it, cuz.
Did
Get
it
it, get
cramp?
it,
It's
get it.
like
Are your
trying
toes
to-
all stupid? Like I hate it when that
I can
happens.
feel the back of my knee like twitching,
Oh, dude,
and
that
it's like
sucks.
trying to pull.
Yeah. So more recently, I've been getting them in like my foot, so my toes like go all stupid, so they end up like this. So like I'm sitting there and I'm like, look at my foot, and it's all stupid. It's dumb. It's really dumb, and it hurts.
Okay, I'll just be here.
You asked how would the economy.
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 It's an anemone.
I can't English properly.
That's better.
She's all excited because she can't English.
Pee, 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 pee.
That's why I wasn't on here to begin with, because I can't English
She's
properly.
speaking Mexican. That's why. That's what it is.
You're speaking in cursive.
Yes.
So what were you saying about the economy or what?
Oh, Mom asked how it would recover.
Recover.
Yeah, it would have to be like war. Just like the depression. In order to get out of the depression, you had to go to war because war makes money.
Well, yeah, but I think we're a little beyond that because
I think
see
so.
before that, right? We didn't have a central banking system, so like we went to war. Well, right around that time, when we went to World War I, right? That we had just instilled the Federal Reserve. So like at this point, because they're doing away with cash, right? We're having this corn shortage and all that. Everybody's using phones and cards and that, right? Now our entire currency pretty much is just numbers on a screen.
Yeah.
So now instead of going, I mean, I'm not saying that that's not correct. war does make money. That's for damn sure, right? But the easier way is just to take on more debt, inflation. That's why I was going with this kind of, it's a conspiracy thought of mine, right? But I love being the button of the group. So we talk about like the small businesses closing, right? And the mom and pops and this and that and the other. So what takes over?
The big businesses.
Corporations,
like your
right?
Walmart.
Corporations that are regulated by who?
The government.
Okay, so then when you want to talk about socialism, how much more easy is it to instill socialism, right? You're going to get, because if they take the competition out, right, the local level, right, now farmers and, farmers for produce and farmers that produce meat and all that shit, they can only now sell to Walmart, HEBs, right, these big corporations. And then the government.
HEB a corporation?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they're still a corporation. They're just only in Texas. But they're
they
still
were still family owned. Are they not family owned anymore?
I don't know.
I don't have my phone.
But either way, I mean, at the point that all the mom and pops are gone, right? Are you gonna play the game?
Well, I mean, who would play? Who would benefit from that game right now?
Yeah.
If HEB were to go out of business,
Oh, Walmart.
Walmart.
Yeah.
right? And now you have a monopoly going
Of
on.
course.
And then you would also have to remove like the individual's ability to hunt for their food.
Right,
Well, that's simple.
right. That's
That's
your
simple
gun
because
control right there.
they're halfway there.
That's your gun control right there. Okay, you can't own guns.
I'm a
You can't
bow
own
hunt
these
like a
high
Bro,
power
what do you think they're gonna
rifles.
come after when they take away the guns? You're not gonna be able to have a bow. I'm telling you,
Or
man.
you
Like
can make your own bow.
you could,
Oh, yeah,
It
you
won't be a
can.
good one, but
Or a
But
knife.
it'll work.
A knife.
Like a
A knife.
knife, right? You have to go, you run after that deer. You go chase him.
I'll be throwing some Chinese stars at him. Hey, I gotta master the card thrower.
Yeah, I seen that
There
dude
you go.
cut a deer's throat.
Oh hell.
Hippity boppity.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's like I said, dude. I just wish somebody could just hit a reset button, man.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated with life, and you know what sucks worse is like I'm dealing with this shit, like with the school, right? With her, I got 2 more going.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And I
they're gonna-
haven't even
Like
started.
I hate to see what it's gonna be like in
4 years.
2 years. No, not even 4 years. Like in
yeah,
2
when Max
years.
is a freshman.
Yeah, when Max is a freshman in school and Demetrios will be a sophomore at that point. So I don't even want to know what it's going to be like in a couple years with them in school. Like if she's already having to deal with this
Because
now-
everything gets passed down. Like,
Right.
It goes down by grade.
Right. Well, so like you're dealing with this now as a senior, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Demetrios will have to end up dealing with it as a sophomore
Yeah.
as opposed to a senior. And then when Max comes in, okay, well, the sophomores did good with it. Let's go ahead and push this on our freshmen next year. And then Max has to deal with it as soon
Then
as he
8th
starts high
grade,
school.
7th
Yeah.
grade, 6th, all the way to
Right.
elementary.
Well, it's like them talking about having to or wanting to start instead of it being 8th grade for them to decide their career path, they're talking about starting it at the 7th grade level to decide on their career path. So then how much longer is it going to be before they started in 6th grade that you have to decide what career you're going to do for
Shit,
the
how
rest
much
of your
longer is
life
it
in
gonna be?
6th
We're like-
grade?
And they're gonna start.
Bob, she's like, look, it's a little mechanic.
You know those people who look at the
horoscopes?
other's hands to see if you're a pianist or like you got doctor hands or something like that?
Why are you so loud?
No.
That's why I kept lowering
I
it.
know.
You saw me.
I was like, wow, her mic sounds really good. Go
Am
ahead.
I that?
No. I was
no,
just saying
you're
it
not.
sounds really good. It's clean.
Don't scare
It's
her.
a high.
She's gonna
It's a
run
high
back away.
pitch, so
Yeah.
it projects really
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Anyway,
You're
sorry.
good.
Oh, because there's people who like look at like someone's hands if you have like piano.
Piano
Playing
hand?
pianist.
Pianist.
A pianist.
Penis hands. I knew a girl once.
Don't mind them. They do this all day. That's cute.
Yeah, to see if they have pianist hands or doctor hands, like a surgeon's hands, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that like the dog whisperer
Oh my
lady?
god. No, the
No.
dog psychic.
Dog
Dog
psychic.
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 I'm just curious because like this lady can like just see a picture of a dog and the dog talks to her.
No. That's
Or-
not how it works.
Well, you just said the same thing about somebody's hands.
No, like I don't know, it's just things that people do.
Like they look at babies' hands and then like they know what they're gonna be.
Children's hands.
Really?
Like
Well, but that doesn't make any
how you
sense because
would Okay, so since I have long fingers, right? It would be easy for me to play on the piano.
Right.
To like reach the keys.
But what if
surgeon's hands would be like very steady hands?
But that doesn't make any sense because you wouldn't be a surgeon until you're.
I'm not saying it's like right, whatever
like,
they say.
Like that's her point.
Ma,
to make
hand,
it funny.
Your hands could
She was
blow
trying
up.
to make it funny. Leave her alone. She was trying to make it funny, like and relevant to what we were talking about. About you saying that they birthed the baby and it's like, oh, here's a mechanic. Like that's what she was saying.
It won't
God.
be that. It won't be that much longer.
He's a dick, bro.
That happens.
Jesus.
Did you just assume my career path?
Oh, no.
Eventually, that's what it's gonna be, right? It's gonna be that. But did you just assume what my career was gonna be?
Your work
like
is
that's your
Work it.
wow.
I'm so done with the isms.
For real. Oh my god.
the ists, the racists, the all of them, dude. I can't stand hearing any of it. It's so annoying already.
I think it's just like it's so overdone. Like I don't know, maybe it goes back to the point that you were making about us having I don't have my phone with me, but us having the internet in our hand, right? Like it's not something
I have one.
that we like it's not something that we grew up with, right? So it wasn't something as in your face with us growing up as kids, right? But
You would have to go to protests.
right, like that's the only way. Like watching the news or going to protests and stuff. Like that's the only way that you
Calling
really
the news channel.
yeah, that's the only way that you really knew what was going on in the world, right? As us with us growing up as kids. But now it's like it's in your hand. So now it's just like, dude, I'm so over it. I'm so done with it. I don't
And
want
back
to
then,
deal with this
even
anymore.
the news were like reporters reporting what they saw.
Right.
Now we have real time where you can see for yourself and define it as you believe.
Yeah.
And then you can have a wrongful opinion. And as long as people hear that little 5-10 second snippet of your opinion, forget everything else. We can discredit
Yeah.
what you said before.
Yeah, test
and
house.
we can take it out of context.
Yeah. Exactly. Like I think that's why everybody's like I think that's why we're just done with it. What?
I didn't say nothing.
He's like, there's too many people here.
I don't know. I'm actually the only reason I'm done with it and it's because I want the process like over, right? Like I'm tired of I think as of right now, especially in the political part of this thing, right? I feel like there's enough evidence that everybody should just say, look, we don't know what happened, right? There is evidence of some fuckery here. The fucking is happening right now. It's happening right now.
God.
Pig Latin.
How
So
many words did you just make up in that sentence? And you're not even done with that sentence. We just made up like 6 words.
So let's let Alex be right and let's just show that our vote doesn't matter,
Oh my God.
right? You know what?
I don't know, dude.
my alter
I don't
ego.
know. Like I'm telling you, this year it's so different.
It is
like
not.
It is the
It's
whole
not.
process that they're showing you. It is so freaking
The process
different.
is exactly
Like,
the same. We've just been privy
no,
to how the process
exactly.
works.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. So they just need to redo the process because it's impossible. For the testimony that they've been showing, how there's like counties and like county after county that cannot be recounted for whatever reason, right? Whether it's state law or however it works out, the counties can't be recounted and blah, blah, blah,
and
blah,
that
blah.
is freaking stupid because federal law overrules state law.
Unless it's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Counting votes is unconstitutional.
I don't know. I'm just telling you, unless it's unconstitutional and states have their own constitution as well. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying.
So then the federal constitution does not overwrite the state constitution is what you're saying.
I don't know, and I don't care if we just redo the process, right? Fuck November. Who cares what got voted where? Let's redo everything.
Would that dignify us having to do that again if someone was trying to,
Right.
rig the system and say, oh, you know what? I don't like this election. Let's vote it again.
Right.
Well,
All we're going to do is dignify those actions later on.
Well, no, because then there's a law in place to prevent that. Like instead of doing an entire whole new election, it goes to the Supreme Court
well, I know, but
and they ultimately decide.
I mean, I'm
But then
kind
again,
of
it goes
Majority
back
vote.
to our votes don't matter again.
exactly. Then what the fuck did we vote for?
All we
Well,
put the
but you're making the argument that your votes don't matter in the first place. So what the hell does it matter anyways?
I know, and I just want to prove that. So if they redid it, right, and they completely took out Dominion and all the software and all their bullshit, and they're just like, dude, look, obviously everybody's okay. Unless you cannot, like, you're in your fucking deathbed. You can't get up and walk or drive or if
If you're
physically,
in your deathbed, you probably should not be signing documents.
you never know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. What if they're like,
They
okay
don't
to
have an
talk
age limit
and
on it, right?
no,
No.
that I'm aware of. No, you can vote for however. But I'm just saying, unless you cannot physically be there, like by a medical fucking reason, right? Get your ass up and go vote.